And now it is the time for us to listen to the message of our President, Kalyan Banerjee.
We are glad to be here in Milan, as I said, the home of past President Carlo and Rosanna, and it's a visit that we have really long been looking forward to. Well, it's been a little over 3 months since I became the president of our great organization. And so far, it's been an amazing and absolutely incredible experience. You get to see a phenomenal amount of Rotary, of the very best of Rotary. And you get to see a great deal of other interesting things besides, just along the way. Because if one were to advertise the position of the RI president in the help wanted ads, the job description would certainly read, with an elegant understatement, some travel required. You might think of this as an inconvenience, all the time spent on planes and in airports and so on, but in fact, I've been finding it an amazing experience, starting, of course, with the visits themselves, the people we meet, and the incredible work that they do. Worth perhaps, as John said, I don't know how many, $500 million, maybe $2 billion, no one knows, in value each year by the Rotarians around the world. And certainly we are trying to find a way to find out more accurately. But even the transit between the visits as I travel are great, because one of the many added benefits of this job is more time that I have. I've got more time today than I've ever had in my life to sit still in one seat. Never mind that it's an airplane seat, just reading a good book. And it all works out especially well, because if you were writing up that help wanted ad that I just mentioned, very high up on the list of position responsibilities would be the giving of speeches, many, many speeches. And so the reading time comes in very handy, because if it is a good book, with a little luck, you will find some good ideas for your next speech. And it happened that to be the book that I had in my carry-on a few weeks ago was called To Heal a Fractured World by the British scholar Sir Jonathan Sacks. It's a book about the ethics of responsibility, about the obligation, as Sir Sacks put it, to mend the fractures of the world, a day at a time, an act at a time, for as long as it takes to make the world a place of justice and compassion, where the lonely are not alone and the poor not without help, where the cry of the vulnerable is heeded. And although I am certain that the author of the book is not a Rotarian, although I should probably be working on that too, I thought that it was a wonderfully eloquent way of summarizing what it is that we in Rotary are here to do. We are here to heal the fractures of the world, the small and the great and the simple and the complex, wherever and whenever we find them. And if you think about that as a metaphor for Rotary service, that we are mending the fractures in our world, small and large, one at a time, to render our world sound and whole, then it gives you a very clear picture, a very clear perspective of our task and how to accomplish it. There are small fractures and there are large ones. The small ones, perhaps, we can mend ourselves. The larger ones will take time, cooperation, more resources, the involvement of many and of money. And it makes sense. It only makes sense that in a world filled with countless fissures and cracks of every kind, in every location, that each of us begin the task in the place best suited to us, the place where we are. We begin with the fractures we find closest to ourselves. Indeed, in ourselves, in our homes, in our families, in our communities. If you have a crack in the wall of your own home, you don't ignore it while you talk about the cracks that you have seen elsewhere. You start with the wall, holding up the roof over your own head first. And this is really what I mean to say when I say that reach within to embrace humanity. It means that if you want to have the resources, the strength, the ability to care for the world, you have to start with yourself. You have to start by reaching within yourself to find the strength and the love that you have, and then bring that strength and that love outward and share it with others. Because everything that we do, everything we aspire to in Rotary, it begins with us and inside each one of us. If we are looking for a world of greater kindness, we are not going to get there by telling other people to be kind. We'll get there by being kind ourselves first. Kind not only to strangers, not only to people far away, but to the people closest to us, our families, our spouses, our children, our neighbors, our co-workers, our fellow Rotarians, and people whom we see every day. We start our work by working on ourselves, by examining our own actions, our own values and priorities, and bringing the two into alignment. If the environment is our concern, if we want to see a healthier and more sustainable ecology, well, there are so many ways to go about it, small and large. But we have to start with our own daily practices, our own awareness of the water that we use, the fuel that we burn, the resources we consume, and where they come from. And so when I say reach within, what I mean is recognize that if we are to heal the world, to repair those fractures and those fissures, we have to begin by being sure that we ourselves are sound first. And that is why our first emphasis in this Rotary year is on the family, because the family is where all our goals begin. If we wish to see a world that is more joyous, we first have to make sure that the families of the world are more joyous, that they have the things that they need to thrive and move forward with. I was born in Calcutta, now called Kolkata, the city of Mother Teresa. And I've had the privilege to work with her on a mission in the past. And Mother would say that the problem with the world today is the family. Parents don't look after their children enough. Children don't listen to their parents. Parents, in fact, often don't care for each other at all. And life in the home is so very disturbed. And in the home begins the disruption of the peace of the world. And so, my brothers and sisters, let's never forget that the family is the building block of the community. And as the family goes, so goes your community. And as the communities go, so goes the nation. And indeed, so goes our world. So we have to look at housing, at clean water, at sanitation, at health care, at all the issues affecting mother and children. A family continues the line, connects the generations past with better things yet to come. And in our Rotary service, we hope to do just that, to continue the things that we do well, and to create positive change where and how we can. And that's why our second emphasis is on continuity, on continuing and strengthening those things that we do well. There are so many areas in which we have been so successful, working for clean, safe water, spreading literacy, working in so many ways with Generation Next, our youth. These are the things that we have to keep on with, keep building, and keep expanding on. And of course, our greatest project, polio eradication, about which we have been hearing so much this afternoon, where we have kept on year after year, for so long, and where we finally are this close to the end. And then, of course, there are always the things that we can do better, things that we should be changing, and the issues that we haven't even begun to address so far. I believe we must have the wisdom and the courage to see these and identify them and engage ourselves in them. And so our third emphasis in 2011 and 12 is change. And we start by being the change ourselves that we wish to see in our world. We start by opening our eyes, by taking a good look, even a hard look at ourselves and at our clubs, at seeing what we ourselves could be doing better, talking not only about the whole district, the whole organization, but also about ourselves as Rotarians every day and every week, in our homes and in our communities. We start changing the world by changing ourselves first, by recognizing our common humanity and by realizing that the people we help are really no different from us. We start by realizing that we are all essentially the same, and we all want to deserve the same things: health, hope, security, love. When we recognize this, when we see the hopelessness, the poverty, the inequality in the world, and realize that it could just as easily be happening to any of us, it changes how we see everything. And it makes us realize how urgently we need to change. Because at its heart, at its very core, Rotary is about change. If we didn't think change was needed, if we thought everything was just fine the way it was, why bother with Rotary? We could just go out and play golf. But we do believe that the world needs us. We do believe the world can change for the better. And that is why we are here. And in this Rotary year, the one change that we are looking for, working for, believing in, waiting for most of all, it is a change in our world from the one with polio to the one without polio. For so long, it has seemed so far away, this goal of ours. But now, finally, we are really almost there. So far in this calendar year, we have had just 410 cases of polio worldwide, down from 682 cases at this time 1 year ago. You don't have to do much. You don't have to know much mathematics to know that that represents a drop of more than 1/3 in just 1 year. A couple of weeks ago, we had the Indian Health Minister visit the world headquarters of Rotary for the first time, Ghulam Nabi Azad. He and we in India have been working very closely to make sure that polio is eradicated. And when he came to the Rotary headquarters for the first time that an Indian minister has ever come there, and the foundation chair and all of us were there, he went back totally moved. He was almost in tears. He said, I had no idea what Rotary is and what it does around the world. It made a difference. And I think it's going to make a difference to the rest of India in the coming months. A month and a half back, I was in Nigeria, the other country, which also is causing us concern in polio. And I wanted to meet the health minister over there. And they called me for a meeting, and I was standing at a podium like this, and there's one gentleman who came in wearing my theme jacket, and he had my theme pin, and he was wearing my theme tie. And I was introduced to him. He said that he was first assistant governor. I said, where is the health minister? He said, I'm the health minister. He was 45 years old, and he said, thanks to Rotary, Nigeria is well on its way now to eradicate polio. Believe me, they have had fewer cases than they had ever before. It is a little more than last year because they have had an election of the president, a new president of Nigeria this year. They lost their focus for a little time. They are back. Despite the insurgencies on the northeast and the northwest, they are working hard. And so, what about India, which has historically been one of the toughest nuts to crack? Well, as you have been hearing, that we have seen only one case of polio, which was reported on January the 17th, when a little girl in the state of Bengal named Rukhsar Khatun woke up unable to walk. Just that one stray case, far away from the main battlefields of polio in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, where so many of you have done outstanding work over the years, and thank you for that. It is now the middle of October, and little Rukhsar's future is still very uncertain. But the future of all of India's children is brighter than it has ever been before, because since that sad morning of January the 17th, not one single child in India woke up unable to walk. There have been no cases of polio, not a single one. And just a few months ago, the New England Journal of Medicine published an article outlining the vision for a post-polio era. Post-polio era. Just let me pause now and let that sink in a little bit. That is accepted reality, that a post-polio future is nearly upon us. 30 years ago, such a paper would have been laughed out into the hall by the review board. It would have been nothing but science fiction. Today, it is where we are. It's where the world is. It's what we Rotarians have helped to achieve. And that's why His Holiness, the Pope, when he heard that I was from Rotary, his face just lit up into a smile. And he exclaimed, "Ah, Rotary." And I quickly told him how with polio, we are working with other things, other areas, literacy, water, hunger, and so on. And now that this is so close to success, we in Rotary must begin to also plan our post-polio future. Because in just a few years, the world will be declared polio-free. And when that happens, for that moment in history, all eyes will turn to Rotary. Around the world, they'll be Googling Rotary and asking about Rotary and thinking that perhaps Rotary is an organization that they will want to be a part of. And we have to be ready for that, my friends, with strong clubs, active clubs, clubs that know who they are and what they are doing, clubs that are organized, clubs that have a strong leadership, clubs that are ready to take on the challenges of the 21st century. My friends, the day that polio will be eradicated once and for all, that day is very close at hand. We have to be ready for it when it comes with a powerful Rotary, a Rotary of enthusiasm, of confidence, of bold vision, of clear ambitions. And I've been saying that Rotary needs to change colors. From its darkening shade of gray, we need to be going green, young, enthusiastic, futuristic, bold, current generation. Last year, that's what your District of Rome, District 2080, and Franco Arzano did. One of the highest growths in the world last year. Congratulations. Keep it up. Keep going. Okay, give him a round of applause. But what I'm asking you today is, what are you going to do to be ready? Because Rotary International is international. Yes, but its strength, my friends, is local. And that local strength is with you. You know, there is a lot of noise in our world, a lot of information coming at us from all directions. And too often, most of the noise is bad. We hear about the wars, the disasters, the economic gloom and doom. Greece today, somewhere else tomorrow. It's relentless.